So I have to ask, do you think it's okay to put blueberries on a smash burger? Because after trying this blueberry bourbon bacon jam, I'm 100% convinced that you definitely should. Holy crap, that's so good. And because my raspberry bacon jam was so controversial, the logical next step was to make one using blueberries. And while we let the bacon render down, I'm gonna whip up a quick basil and garlic aioli that we're gonna use as our sauce. I like my sauce to have a little bite, so I'm using 2 cloves of garlic, but you can find the full recipe down in the caption. Now back to the bacon, which after about 15 minutes is cooked through, crispy, and ready to set aside. Then we're gonna get most of the grease out of the pan, but leave in all those drippings and about 1 tablespoon of bacon fat so we can saute the onions. And once the onions soften up and get some color, I'm adding a 1/4 cup of bourbon that some people will definitely hate that I'm using for cooking. Then we can burn off the alcohol and let it reduce a bit before we add the star of the show, some fresh blueberries. And look, I know a bunch of people were thrown off when I started adding berries to my bacon jam, but trust me, it just works. Then when the berries start to break down, we can add in the black coffee, which I like to use instead of a dark beer. And then we can add the rest of the ingredients, starting with some lemon juice, a little brown sugar, and some salt and pepper. And once you give that a stir, we can add the cooked bacon back in and drop the heat down to medium-low and let this simmer for about 40 to 45 minutes. And right at the end of the cook, I tossed in a little fresh thyme and it was 100% the right decision. And now that we have the bacon jam out of the way, it's time to make our smash burgers. Now my go-to blend is always 75-25 ground beef for the patties, but I'm making them just a little thicker than normal for this burger. And I'm gonna season them up with some seasoned salt and let them cook for about 2 minutes. Then we can flip them over and we're gonna top them off with havarti cheese. It should melt pretty fast, then we can stack them up and start putting this thing together. And we're gonna start with a steamed pretzel bun covered in the basil and garlic aioli before we place down a bed of arugula followed by 2 of our patties. Then after we get the top bun covered in the bacon jam, we can place it down and we're ready to dive in. This burger was absolutely insane, and if you make it for yourself, definitely tag me so I can check it out.